Welcome to the Difference of 13. We have exciting solutions for you today that we're going to talk about, and actually we're going to clarify if they actually are solutions. My name's Chris.
And I'm Teri.
And our goal is to bring you some great information, keep you entertained for the next 15 to 20 minutes, wherever you're driving to or whatever you're doing. Maybe you're just procrastinating, being productive at work.
That's legitimate.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Or enjoying your lunch hour.
Maybe you're doing that as well, too. But so what we're going to talk about today is going to be, I think a lot of times you go to the local drugstore and you go down the pain aisle and there's lots of different things like Icy Hot, braces. What else will you see down there?
Tiger Balm. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Can you get E-stim units there? Like the TENS units?
I think
are those
I have
online
seen
at this point?
I've seen that. You can definitely get them on Amazon, but I've seen them in some bigger drugstores.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's a lot of different things down those aisles, and we get questions all the time of, do they help or what should I grab? And
is it worth the money?
Is it worth the money? And I think a lot of the times we get people in PT who have tried all of that first, and then they end up in PT. So hopefully try to help you figure out what the most effective and efficient way to get better is if you are having pain. If you should just go right past that aisle, or maybe you should go dive down it.
So, as the PT, what do you recommend?
The classic answer, it depends.
It depends. That's my favorite answer of all time.
So I think there's I think the first one I want to talk about is braces, and I'm not talking about braces on your teeth. Somebody falls on their wrist and they go get a wrist brace, or their knee hurts, so they go get one of those neoprene sleeves for their knee, or maybe they'll get the ones with the copper in it that magically make your knee feel better.
Magic copper.
Yeah. If only we knew that, we'd be rich.
Right.
But then I think there's lots of different variations to the bracing, and there's even, post-operatively.
Right, because you can get, like you said, the little ones that are just stretchy fabric, basically, all the way up to the ones that have, like, hardware in them. Right. So I have many of those.
I know you do. I've told you my feelings on them.
Yeah.
So I think, what are some, like, typical injuries that you would, people would go to the store and pick up a brace for?
I think a lot of times, I stumbled, I step off of the curb and I twisted my ankle a little bit. It's sore. Should I wear a brace? I was doing yard work and now my elbow is sore. Wrist, too much time on the computer. It seems to be like not giant traumatic injuries, but more like those little sort of everyday things, overuse.
Yeah, the nagging ones.
The ones that they're kind of persistent. I think when you have the big ones, you go to the doctor and then they hand you a brace, which...
Expensive brace.
Yes, they're very expensive. So that would be interesting to hear your take on whether or not those braces the doctors hand out are worth the hundreds of dollars that they sometimes cost.
I think how I want to word this.
Just say it. Yeah. Just say it.
So I think the neoprene sleeves and different ones that could potentially give you compression definitely can help to keep your knee from ballooning up necessarily. Mm-hmm. So it can help to kind of keep the swelling down in terms of how much fluid may arise in your joint, throughout the day as you're wearing it. Beyond that, I don't know that they do much for you. Other than maybe a security blanket mentally, that may be about it. But, if let's use your ankle, step off a curb and kind of roll your ankle a little bit, the brace, like a little neoprene brace, isn't adding any more stability than your
socks,
joints and ligaments would already give you. Yes, you might as well just wear a tight sock. That's pretty much what it's going to do. Then there'll be some that have kind of the plastic bars in it, or... and I think if like acutely in an injury when you're trying to minimize tweaking it, potentially that could help a little bit. But really what your goals are if you do have an acute injury like that are going to be, if you've listened to other episodes, you've heard me say you want to try to assist that inflammatory process moving through. So hot, cold, compress to help to flush fluid out, a lot of motion. Massage can help to...
Right, so you don't necessarily want to keep it immobile.
I think that's the problem. I think people think hey, I hurt my knee or I hurt my ankle or my wrist hurts. I need to immobilize it so that it'll get better. And that oftentimes, unless there's a fracture, will lead to the healing time actually increasing and being more so. So I would really encourage, if you are thinking about going down that aisle, and they're only like $20. I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people buy them, is there's a low barrier to entry. It's like, it's $20. I'll just try it out. If it doesn't work, then whatever. I'd encourage you to put that $20 towards something that will be probably a little bit more meaningful in helping you truly make sure you get better. Like, I'm going to plug physical therapy.
Right.
But I think the other piece to that is, even if the brace does kind of help you, like help make it feel better, it's not doing anything to help the tissue get any better.
Right. I think it's, for some people, it's a little bit like the little kids when they fall and they get a tiny little scrape. I need a Band-Aid. You feel like I've hurt something, therefore I need to put something on it. Right. I need the grown-up Band-Aid.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think for those everyday aches and pains, I'm not a huge fan of the bracing. There are, like, if you have carpal tunnel and you sleep at night with a brace to keep the wrist from closing down and compressing the nerves, that makes sense. But people who, if I have a thumb sprain and they put it in a brace so that you don't use it, and that's all they do, that's a problem. I think you need to be doing manual work, trying to strengthen and rehab that tissue that you hurt and injured. And bracing alone is not the solution, I guess, is what we're saying.
And I think a lot of people feel that is the solution.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, their bank is broke after just a brace. Particularly if it's at the doctor's office, they can tend to be quite expensive. So that's one item in the aisle. Mm-hmm. What are some others that you've tried, or?
I tend to not go down that aisle very much, because you have informed me that it's not necessarily the best bet. There are a lot of topical creams, the icy hot and those types of things. Some of them have lidocaine in it, which I'm allergic to, so therefore I stay away from that aisle.
Read your labels.
Yeah, read your labels, know what's in there. Mm-hmm. I personally have never found much benefit from those types of things.
Yeah, I think some people use like icy hot or other topical solutions. Just, I don't know, I call it it's the aisle of Band-Aids. It may help you feel better for a little while. It may numb it, and the heat may feel good for a little, maybe like that after burn, the hot mm-hmm. of the icy. But it's, again, none of those elements really get at what's actually injured and healing it and helping the tissue to become stronger, so that you can go back to what you love to do and be more resilient and hopefully prevent you from getting hurt again. I've met lots of people who just they have a closet at home of all the different braces that they've used. I, for one, growing up, I played basketball growing up, and I would wear ankle braces because I would sprain my ankles. And the funny thing is when you sprain your ankle, or any joint for that matter, and then you put a brace on it, you actually take away, to a degree, the amount of work and what's called proprioception of your joint, feeling where you are in space. And if you just put a brace on it and don't actually try to retrain your mm-hmm. ability to feel where you are in space, you actually are at a higher risk for injury.
Right.
And particularly with ankles, they've done a number of studies of taping the ankle or putting an ankle brace on. After about 20 minutes, you might as well not have that on there, because it loosens up and it's so, and it becomes basically unstable, or as unstable as if you were just wearing a sock. That's
the other big one. The tape is very popular these days.
Those will not be in the aisles generally, although I would be.
No, it is.
Are they there now already?
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that. I obviously haven't been down the paint aisle recently.
Yeah, it's like $15 for a small roll. It's not cheap.
No, and I think rock tape, and I think some of those have become. Have become more of the popular ones. They get the bright colors, and they're see them on the professional athletes on TV.
You see the professional athletes on TV doing it, so it must be good, right?
I think there's some debate in terms of what it's good for, what it's not good for. I think it really comes down to how you use it, similar to the bracing. And mm-hmm. The device itself isn't necessarily bad. I think where a lot of people are going to get into trouble with taping is they don't really know how to use it.
Right.
There's some people out there that will talk about if you tape from insertion to origin, basically from where a muscle starts to where it ends, with a certain tension, that it'll increase the activation of the muscle. I'm not sure I'm sold on that you can tape something at skin level and it increases the activation of a muscle inches down. I
mean, even me, who's not a PT, logically that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right. But you can, definitely if there's swelling and inflammation, depending on different taping designs that you do and where you put the tension, you definitely can see improved swelling in terms mm-hmm. of the swelling kind of helping it to move out from the joint to restore movement and that sort of a thing. So I think there's definitely are benefits to it, but they have certification courses for these, partly because that's how they make money, but also because just to teach people how to actually do them the right way. So I'd say do your research before you go out and buy tape. For just, hey, I have my elbow hurts. I saw so-and-so, professional, or I think I remember like the volleyball players all wearing it on their shoulders because their shoulders were bugging them or whatever it may be. Or Michelle Wee wearing it. She wears it on pretty much every darn joint.
She's like a mummy wrapped in the tape.
Like don't just put it somewhere because you saw a professional athlete using it in that area and your body hurts too. Do your research in terms of find somebody who's certified, a medical professional who actually understands it, could explain how to do it for you. Search YouTube. And again, you're going to have to filter through the crap versus the people who actually know what they're doing. But
you kind of want somebody, again, with a little bit of medical background there.
Right. And I think just as with anything, just run the BS meter test. And if it doesn't sound like it makes sense, then it probably doesn't. You can also look up, Google Scholar is a good Google search that you can look for some general research articles that may be available to the general public. A lot of them are not available in full text. You have to have access through a university, but you could at least potentially read the abstract related to that. So, again, we'll put that in the notes for resources for you, just to have that Google Scholar there as well. But
so if you find yourself, I always have to tape my shoulder, or I'm always wearing a brace, or I'm always using some sort of cream. Is that always doing it an indicator of something that they should do differently?
It's like the guy who goes on the golf course and pops 8 Advil before he takes off, another maybe 8 Motrin halfway through. And I mean, it's all Band-Aid. That's clearly not normal, and that's, in my opinion, not intelligent. Search for a solution for a way to actually fix the problem. Those can be certainly good Band-Aids to help you get through if you have a big event coming that you really want to participate in and pain may have stopped you otherwise. Like, use the Band-Aid, use the support to get through it, but ultimately you want to try to fix the problem.
Right. It's not something you should be doing every
short-term
day.
Solutions.
Yeah, for long periods of time.
Right. They should change the name of the aisle to short-term pain solutions.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Another one, now you've had experience with this one, the TENS machine or eStim machine. I've had a couple people email me about these $1,000 machines that they can buy offline. Like, what's been your experience with the purchasing process and helpfulness and all that?
I got my first one through insurance. Surprise, surprise. Actually came through for me, but I'd have like 2 surgeries that year, so I got my money out of them. And then when that one no longer worked, I was able to buy one off of Amazon for, $40, $50. So they've become quite reasonable. Again, I don't think that's a long-term solution in my non-medical opinion. In the short term, it felt nice. I don't think it was really accomplishing anything, but it was kind of a pain management tool for me, that it knocked down the pain to a bearable level so that I wasn't constantly being inundated with that pain stimulus, but I wouldn't use it as like a long-term, it's not fixing anything. It just felt nice. Yeah,
definitely. I think eStim and TENS they operate from a pain standpoint. It's called the gateway theory of pain, where if you think of, you have kind of a small door up top, and if we have pain signals coming from all these different directions, only a certain amount of signal is going to get through to the brain. So when you put eStim on, it basically overflows or floods that doorway with information, and then the pain signal doesn't get through. So again, it's a Band-Aid. It kind of may help you get through, may take away some of the pain so you can do some of the other stuff that's actually going to help you long term. You can use it in some cases to try to activate the muscle and get the muscle to contract if you're ramping it up high enough. Those machines aren't generally going to be, those would not be like a low-level TENS machine. Those would be a true muscle, neuromuscular stimulation. But I mean, those are really only helpful in the early stages of rehab. Like if you can't turn a muscle on, post-stroke, sometimes they'll use it, or other neuromuscular issues. But if you're going to the gym, running, and then you sit down on the couch at night and start pulsing your quad, like you're not, you may help with a little bit of inflammation, maybe to move things through, but you're not doing anything to get any stronger. You're not going to be able to generate enough of what's called a maximal voluntary contraction. You're not going to be able to generate enough of that to really
So the home units are not going to do that.
No, they're more of a pain block, I guess, would be their pain covering. It's like a blanket, a way to blanket your pain.
A distraction.
Yeah, pain distraction, exactly. So yeah, I think those are some of the more common ones. I think if you are listening and you have other questions about other ones you've used, obviously there's all the anti-inflammatories, Tylenol, those you can pop pills, whatever pill is of your choice, obviously in those aisles. But I think the main thing here is that a lot of the things in those aisles are short-term solutions, and they don't necessarily address the true underlying problem of getting you healthy for the long term. So if you're going to go down that aisle and you're going to purchase something, I would challenge you to say, what else am I going to do to supplement this? Because I know this is not the solution.
Right. It's not the last step. Right. It might be just an initial step.
Exactly.
And if you're using it chronically, you might want to think about, I keep doing the same thing, but I'm not getting any better. So perhaps this is not the thing that's going to fix me.
Maybe we should do things differently.
Right.
Maybe get a different result.
You never know.
So this is a quick hitter today, guys. Yeah. Thank you for listening. As always, if you could, wherever you're listening to, 5 stars, 2 thumbs up. I know you can only technically do 1, but 2 sounds better. So sign in under 2 accounts and give us 2 thumbs up. As always, with this episode in particular, if there's any solution that you're curious about that you've used in the past, I know somebody's going to ask about CBD oils. We're going to actually have an episode of that coming up in the near future, specifically. So, because I know that's a new hot topic that people are asking about. But anything else other than that, by all means, or even if you have specific questions about that, let us know. We'd love to answer them for you in an upcoming episode. Any other fun announcements?
Leave us comments, questions, thoughts, opinions. What's worked for you? Have you found some magical ointment or cream out there? And love to hear about it. Definitely. So hopefully you got to wherever you were going. Hopefully it wasn't too long of a drive. Otherwise, I guess you just have to listen to the next episode. But thanks for hanging out with us today. And we look forward to chatting next week, and hopefully giving you some more value to your life and whatever you're doing. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye.